Welcome to Modern Homestead, Alaska. I am your host, Jessica, and we are heading into the Every Bit Counts Challenge here in Alaska in the month of August. And what that means is we are going to preserve as much as we can every single day for an entire month. And what I thought I would do is share with you exactly what's in our pantry heading in. Not only our upstairs pantry, but our big bulk overflow pantry that's in the basement as well. And we'll accomplish 2 projects as well as a Azure haul. So why don't you join me? Well, why don't you come on in? We will look at both sides. This side of the pantry is going to be canned goods and the things that we're going to be working on. And it is full of empty jars, as well as some stuff that we have canned in the past. And we need to know what we need to can, what are we out of, and what we should do moving forward. So let's take a look right here. My pantry is broke apart in segments, and so it is a very tall, but it is a narrow room. And so we'll just take it one segment at a time. Starting up here on this top row, we are full of freeze-dried items. I will once again attempt to run the dryer, as many days as I possibly can. We need a lot more freeze-dried than what we have. Okay, you see a couple of things piled up here. This is a thing that loads pills, and I need to make more of them because I'm out. And then these are some capsules that we fill with beef organs or moose organs. So this is freeze-dried heart and liver, and then we just fill them with organs into the capsules and take those every day. We have a whole bunch of other stuff when we recently cleaned it out, like this is cranberry juice, some meal preps, and then some other things that might not belong, but I think this whole row right here is organs. We have some raspberries, taking up a step, thyme, mint, sage, all of those are from our garden last year. Ginger, this has worked really, really well in some Asian meals when we don't have fresh ginger and I need to use that. Let's see, some scallions, another meal. Those are, blackberries. Beautiful. Peaches. I should have wrote it down. Sliced ginger, so that's really nice to add it to honey, to teas, anything like that. And then some chamomile. We have a chamomile that needs to be harvested right now. Zucchini. That is basil. And then the feverfew flowers. These we get from Costco. There's 2 jars of them, and they are dry potatoes that make hash browns. Those work really, really well. Celery and some yarrow, rose hips, the beets, empty. This should have eggs in it. We used all those up. Mint. I have another egg back there. More potatoes, chicken broth, and what does that say? Parsley. This shelf here holds, so these are half gallon and quart. These are pint, or we could do jelly sized jars on this one. We have cherries, and then we have a little bit of cranberry sauce and a little bit of applesauce. And then a whole huge gap that we need to get filled in. Next row down, empties, some peaches, some more cherries, some frozen peaches, and then some of that frozen fruit. So blackberries, raspberries, blackberry. This is peach and blueberry mixed together. I didn't care for these, so we won't do them again. The zucchini, pineapple, I need to find a way to use that. Tons of empty jars. This is jalapeno cowboy candy. So it's candied jalapenos. This is the leftover juice. And then let me show you, we're almost out of those. So if I can get a good harvest, which I don't think I will from my garden, but I can maybe from Costco get some jalapenos and we could do more cowboy candy. We use the leftover juice for jerkies and smoked salmon, all sorts of other things, because that's sugar and vinegar and some spices. A few candied, these are pickled beets, and then plain beets, some collard greens. I didn't even grow collards this year because we didn't work through very many of these collard greens, whereas we had previously worked through them. And so everything's good for a couple of years. We just won't do any more of those this year because we have enough. Working down here is the zucchini relish. I don't have too terribly many of them left, so we'll have to decide. Some of that onion jam, that was really, really great. What was here was the tomatoes and basil. They're gone. And we do have some of the spaghetti sauce left, and then our lard. Down at the bottom here, which I don't always show, are our cast iron pans. I keep this here, otherwise the dogs get into the snacks. So rings, we've got plenty of canning lids ready to go, water bath canner, big pots, and then Wyatt and Cody for their lunches, they have been going to like Costco or Three Bears and then filling in the snacks for themselves. And that, because they're adults, they're adult children at home, they aren't that old, they're 19 and 20. So they do pack their own lunches. They do buy their own bread, their own lunch meat, their own snacks, all those things. And then they do contribute to the household pantry bill. So they give funds towards all of that and then provide their own. And that really takes that burden off of Aaron and I, because we don't have to buy lunch stuff for adult children anymore. And then here's the next section, the floor to ceiling. So let me scoop some stuff out of the way. So recently when we painted all this, I kind of redid some of it. And then a little bit of what's happening is my daughter moving back in. We are making pantry space. And then the funny part is they just ate 2 packs of these. I brought these up out of the basement. These are crackers from Costco. We need to go through them. Soup is our always offender meal at our family, at our home, where we eat a lot of soup. And yesterday was rainy and super, super cold. And when I came home, Aaron and Wyatt and Cody had all worked outside in the rain. And they said, no, we're just having soup for dinner. So they ate crackers. So I need to move some of these down real quick. So what I actually have, Wyatt got some Costco sized Oreos, and hidden back there, my mom just came, and she knows that I love certain snacks from Trader Joe's, and she brought me, I love those maple cookies. We don't have a Trader Joe's in Alaska, so these maple leaf cookies. And then she brought me the spring snacks, and they're not orange slices, they're tangerine, like dried tangerines from Trader Joe's. And so I have those hidden up there behind the cookies. And if you keep them pretty far out of reach, then you don't eat so many of them. We keep egg cartons. Jim in Alaska is his YouTube channel. He gives me all of his egg cartons because we have so many chickens and so many eggs. We go through these throughout the year. Okay, back to the shelf. My friend Crystal gave me a bunch of expired Crisco that we will turn into emergency candles when we need those. And then just some odds and ends. So this was the potato container from Cody's, brown sugar. Let's see what else she had up here. Some almond flour. I have a little refill of honey. So I put this. This one has turned out pretty good. We got this, I think, from Azure, right? This is not a whipped honey. It is like a super fluffy white creamed honey, it says. The bees do it naturally. Total difference. We have some coconut oil and some palm shortening. I went ahead and started sticking stuff up here that we don't grab very often. It used to be way down there at the bottom. And I moved down to the bottom things that I grab constantly, and I'm constantly having to get on and off the ladder to grab to make dinner on a regular basis. So I kind of switch things around when we painted. Totally random. We have peanut butters and cookie butters, some random bags of chips. The kids made s'mores, so we have chocolate bars and graham crackers and marshmallows. Hard to do all that one-handed. In here is overflow spices, and then we have things like mayonnaise, syrup. Here's some oatmeal packs from Cody, some cereal, some fake cheese, a whole bunch of tomato paste. So it's literally just the most random. Oh, there's all kinds of condiments back here. So tomatoes, geez. Ketchup, hot sauce, mustard, cookie butter, anything like that has a shelf, and it all just gets kind of shoved on there and messy. Next shelf are canned goods. I used to try to keep this shelf and this one just completely tidy. I realized I was spinning my wheels with that. I do try and keep things in rows, but like that is coconut, then broth, garbanzo beans and green beans, and canned store-bought soup and refried beans, and what do we got? A bunch of canned fruit back there, some more soups, some evaporated milk, some pineapple juice. So when we get to the basement and you see my can roller system, this is if we find that we're running downstairs. So yesterday, running down there for soup. So what did Aaron do when he brought up the soups for everyone to choose from? He just brought up 2 of every kind. And then any of the leftovers got shoved in here. They're towards the front. And then they can just grab some soup from here without having to run to the basement. But we mainly keep all of the store-bought canned goods on rollers in the basement, and I'll show you those in a minute so we don't have to talk too much about them in this pantry. So when my mom left, she brought us her dog passed. She brought us her leftover chicken and rice, soft food. Our little dog, Duke, is on soft food for his abscesses. And then my grandma loved these. I should make sure Wyatt knows they're here because I think he'll actually eat these. Maybe if I put them in his snack thing. And then this would be pretty much empty jars. We just canned these, I think, on the channel. Yes, I'm remembering. So we did a huge clean out our 6, 7, whatever it is, freezers video. And this is the chicken and the broth that we recently did because we were literally just about out of all of it. And this will not last long at all. It's to the point where I probably just need to can it a couple of times a year or have an entire basement shelf devoted to meats and broths. So we have a little bit of pulled chicken left and then broth, but scooting down here, we've gotten rid of, so we probably over canned too much of the candied salmon, smoked candied salmon, but that's okay. We've gotten rid of about 4 rows of this year, which for us, this not being something that we grew up eating, that's actually pretty good to get rid of it. We are learning to add it to like cream cheese and make like a dip and stuff out of it. So I'm thinking that's gonna help us kind of work through it. That's a Alaska staple everywhere. If you go to any sort of like group eat out, what are those called? You know, church socials, those sort of things, everyone brings a salmon dip. And it's always some kind of canned smoked salmon with like cream cheese or sour cream and some chives and some capers. And there's all sorts of recipes. Everyone seems to have their own family recipe, the same as Southern families have certain recipes. So we have worked through some of that. We need to work through some more, but we're not going to smoke and can any more salmon this year because we aren't going through it fast enough. The rest of that row, however, is empty. empty, and then buried back here are a couple. We've been trying to use the last of, I make homemade refried beans and a couple of canned beans. We need to fill this out with canned beans. We did eat all of the spicy pintos are gone. All of this is completely empty. This entire rack is empty minus 2 jars of canned potatoes. This is mostly empty with just some random stuff. So way down here, I used to have the oils and things like that. And I was constantly having to grab, like, the stick blender is here, the Ninja, that's one of our mixers. And now they're easy for me to grab. And then down on the floor, we have some containers of some store-bought things, whether that's like a muffin mix, some soup mixes, some cake mixes with some icing, and then over here we have like some birria, biryana. Anyway, some Indian type rice, some other rices, a minute rice for taking camping and such. So that's that side. Food-wise, I think it's gonna be super exciting when we get to the end of the month and all of this is full of jars as opposed to so many empty jars ready to go. But what the empty jars tell us heading into challenges like this, I think it's our 3rd year maybe doing this, is it has worked. It is beneficial. We should look at what can we preserve and store and have in the household. What are we working through and what are we not? And the pantry is ever evolving. I know that mine certainly is. It changes with every time someone moves in, someone moves out. Life changes, life goes up, life goes down. It has a constant ebbs and flows to it. And it's a good thing that you and I can walk through it together and say, well, what did we go through? What did we not? What should we do? What shouldn't we do? I'm probably not gonna do much in the way of canned fruit this year. That's okay. We have tons of vegetables and meats and things that we actually work our way through very, very quickly, and therefore we should be canning and preserving and giving space to the things we're actually working our way through. Now I want to show you the other side of my pantry because I know that many of you just enjoy seeing and understanding exactly what we're storing. And this side has to do with dry storage and things that are in the basement. So let me just jump right over here. As I jump to this side, I was reading an article this morning about grocery prices in Alaska versus the rest of the country, and the top 5 states for grocery prices, the most expensive groceries, were number 2. Hawaii is number 1, Alaska is number 2. Neither one of us are part of the continental United States, so we're not connected to the lower 48 in any way, and so everything is shipped here, and we don't have big industry. So we don't have dairy ranches or farms, we don't have big beef ranches, we don't grow a lot of grains or produce or anything like that. What Alaska produces is fish for the world. And, you know, you have the halibut capital of the world down in Homer. You have huge salmon operations out in the ocean just off of the coast. You have crabbing and shrimping and all of these other things up here. But we don't produce groceries. And so we have very, very high prices in comparison to the rest of the country. And so I talk about that to talk about Azure for just a second. Because of Azure, it is where I get most of my bulk goods. Alaska being a very loose populated, we are lightly populated. We have the most square mileage and one of the least amount of people in the entire United States. So with that, we don't, because we're spread out really, really far, we don't have things for big, bulk, organic spices and grains and the different things like that within any reasonable distance. And so using Azure, I am able to get big bulk goods, spices, grains, anything that I want shipped here to Alaska that I couldn't get otherwise. So as we head over here, most of what you're going to see has come from Azure. However, some of it has maybe come from Costco or a place like that. We don't have Sam's Club. I guess Alaska used to before we ever moved here. So we only have Costco that I know of. And so that's it. That's pretty much our two options. And so this week I was able to get a small Azure order, and I'll show that to you after we do a project in the basement. But heading over here, let's talk about what we do actually have and store up. And even though this is not something that we can grow and produce during the Every Bit Counts challenge, it's a good time to take a tally of what we have, what are we missing, and what do we need. I always just breeze past these last. So these are 2-gallon buckets. I filled the 2-gallon buckets from 5-gallon buckets in the basement. And you know what? I'm actually just gonna run through. So this is like cheap white sugar. Sometimes I need that because it dissolves better. And also if I'm making something that I don't want to invest a bunch of money into. Then we have white sugar, which that is organic white raw sugar from Costco. And then that is all chocolate chips from Costco, so big bulk chocolate chips. I do beans, so overflow beans here. I don't know how to pronounce this sugar. I think it's a sucanat. Anywho, that's what's in there. And then this one is full of some additional dried fruits. And then the little honey packs, I use this little 1-gallon one. The honey came in them. I just wash them and I throw things like this, like powdered sugar or whatever needs a home. So brown sugar. These are quinoa elbow macaronis. I get those from Azure in bulk. And then this is it fazuli? But this is a quinoa pasta too from Azure. Next is teas, rice, peas and lentils, oats, long grain white rice, and an organic white all-purpose flour. To show you this cubby really quick, I keep some einkorn up here. This is our grain grinder that we use, and I just stick a bowl here and we grind the grains and we make all sorts of stuff. So down here, nearest the grinder, is the bulk. So we have amaranth, buckwheat, rye, whole oat, millet, teff, barley, spelt, durum, einkorn, sorghum, kamut. Dry kibble dog food, and then a 5-gallon bucket of organic apple cider vinegar from Azure for canning, cooking. Okay, even higher. Let's go up, up, up. Right here I have drink mixes, so you can kind of see from the side. There's boxes of tea, instant coffees, anything like that. Some drink flavorings back there. Honey citrus. In this packet here we have like some stevia packets, some dry honey, any kind of sweetener like that. And then this is one of my pasta buckets. I have 1, 2, and 3 that hold dry pastas. This one specifically is egg noodles. Try and keep my bulk dry pantry together in some sort of logical way that makes sense to me. Please organize your pantries in a way that makes sense to you or whoever is putting things away and getting things out of the pantry. That should be the person in charge of where everything is at. And pay no attention to mine if this is not the way that you would do it. I'm just sharing with you what we have. So let's take a look. So we have all kinds of corn products first. So we have popcorns. We have grits. We would have cornmeal, white cornmeal, yellow cornmeal, masa flour. Anything that's corn related goes there. We have jalapenos and green chilies that are dry. I have to get these off of Amazon. Everything here, Azure, Amazon, Azure. Okay. Here we have the label wiped off. Okay, so this is the powdered cheese mix for popcorn. We get that in bulk from Azure. Some garam masala, some citric acid, bulk dry ranch, bulk dry pickling seasoning, and bulk dry Italian dressing. Pit barrel, we have a pit barrel, that's the smoker that we have. You can get a seasoning mix from them. Yellow mustard, and then a brown mustard. And then dry citrus, so we have lemon and orange peel. All of this comes from Azure as well as some cinnamon sticks back there. I call this rack Aaron's because he does do a bunch of smoking. He likes to buy different spice mixes, and for a long time I didn't give space to it, and I thought, well, that's just silly. He lives here, he cooks, he does all sorts of things. What if he just has his own rack, his own shelf? And so he does. He loves meat churches, seasonings, and so he has all kinds of them. What am I seeing here? Holy Gospel, Holy Cow, Blanco, Holy Voodoo. This was a gift from one of you. Some sriracha seasoning, black garlic, fish tacos, all sorts of fish taco, yellow chicken. These are some flavored Alaska salts. So this is an Alaska company. That was a gift. And then some very small, seldomly used spices that I don't want a huge bulk in. So we have everything from cardamom, Creole, Old Bay, celery salt, onion salt, anything like that I might just use a couple of times a year. That was next row. So these are spices that I keep in quart-sized jars, and they fill a pint or a half pint in the kitchen, or they don't refill anything. They just, this is the amount that I have. So we have the mustard, onion, allspice, cloves, marjoram. I'm not going to pull everything out. Cilantro, sage, parsley, dill seed, dill weed, rosemary. What do we got right there? Oregano. Cayenne pepper, allspice, nutmeg, pumpkin pie spice, a little bit of couscous, that's not a spice. We have some sesame seeds, some poppy seeds. What do we got there? Some hot chili powder. We have chicken bouillon, beef bouillon, turmeric, chicken flavored broth from Azure, mushroom soup mix. This is a beef soup mix, tomato bouillon, and then those are beef bouillon cubes back there. Then we have a bunch of salt. So pickling salt, sea salt, Morton's Tender Quick, so that is used for curing things. Then we have more of those, more pickling salt, and then some onion salt there. These I consider daily spices. They refill what's in the kitchen that I use constantly. These we blow through more than once a year. I have made videos of refilling these over and over and over. When you don't have access to a bunch of places to eat out, you live out in the middle of nowhere, and it is very tedious to constantly eat out, you make everything from scratch, so you blow through seasonings and spices. And that is the case for us. So 1/2 gallon jars of onion powder, ground mustard, this should be Italian seasoning. What do we got back there? Cumin, red pepper flakes, ginger, cinnamon, chili powder, a hot chili powder, paprika, garlic powder, garlic salt, everything bagel, rancher's steak rub, just black peppercorns, bay leaves, sweet basil, thyme. So we should have a rosemary, oregano, parsley. Here we go. Here's part of our Azure order. Our potatoes are not ready and we're completely out of potatoes. So I did get 1 10-pound bag of potatoes recently from the store. And then I did get these as part of my Azure order. This is just some organic little baby potatoes. I have a few of them with breakfast, something like that. And then just weird odds and ends. You gotta have shelves of odds and ends around here. Next rack over. So I just showed you 2 more boxes of pasta. And then here's what I had done. Okay, this is better. So breadcrumbs, almond flour, and some panko breadcrumbs, as well as this is gonna be like spaghettis and lasagnas, and then this is gonna be different shapes of pasta. This first rack, so these used to be lower, but I don't use them as much as I do the rice and the pasta. So we have white types of beans first. So these are garbanzo beans and black-eyed peas and navy beans. We have the black beans, pintos, red, anything red. They might be a small red bean or a large red bean. We have yellow split peas, a bunch of like butter beans and all sorts of other beans back there. Green split peas, and then brown lentils of sorts, like different shades and so on. So this is all beans and peas. This is a mostly empty shelf. Cody brought a couple of pastas that just need to find their way. I think they're open because she was only feeding 2, so she only used a little bit of them at a time. So those need to get 8, but mostly have an empty shelf that should be canned, jarred things. So we need to work on filling this one this month. Mostly rice and pastas, but we use all kinds of rices. Like this is minute rice, long grain white rice. We have arborio. We have jasmine, Creole, like all the different rices that you can imagine, as well as some rice noodles, some rice pasta. And then when I open a pasta and it doesn't get 8, it just gets put in one of these. So egg noodles, and we seem to have like some really fat macaroni noodles. You can just toss those into a soup or something like that. And then over here, we have a little bit of kosher salt, and we have flaxseed, chia, no, is that right? Black chia seeds. And then we have some bunch of quinoas, some more salts, and then I worked through, these need to be refilled. Creole rice, quinoa, I used all of that up. So all those need to be. Starting whip here, there isn't food. I don't like to have them out so they don't get used, but I will have like paper towels and throwaway utensils, plastic forks, those sort of things. And anything Aaron needs for his smoker is in that tote. So thermometers, all of that different stuff. So smoking tote, and then like when you're having like an outdoor party or something. This entire rack, we call it our baking rack, and it's going to have any spices or things that go along with that. So starting over here are some drink mixes. So we have hot chocolates and like an espresso powder, that sort of stuff. This is some buttermilk powder from Azure. And then we have gelatin. I think that's like a Tang drink mix back there. This is pectin, powdered sugar, arrowroot powder, cornstarch, baking soda, and then baking powder. Now these all refill, some of these refill stuff in the kitchen. We have some more pectins. We may be working our way through those. And then, oh, that one's baking powder. I had 2, so I must have had too much. Some pre-ground einkorn. And then we have some hemp hearts. And then some breakfast cereals. So cream of wheats, malto meals, grits, kind of like 5-minute breakfasts. In this short shelf we have more baking stuff. So we have all sprinkles here, little cup holders, some pudding mixes, all of the extracts. So vanilla bean, anything store-bought, so almond extract, so on, and all of the chocolates. So baking chocolate and then almond bark are all back in there. And then Cody just brought all these jars to the house. We'll figure out. So this shelf is dried fruits. So we have peaches and apples, and back in the back is mangoes, bananas, mulberries, cherries, blueberries. What are these called? Yep, just had a brain fart. So those are organic goji berries. We have 2 kinds of blueberries. So one is the Kirkland and one is the organic Azure. Some more cherries back there, raisins, apricots, cranberries, coconut, figs, more figs, and dates. And then look at this, my daughter brought more dates to the house. Next rack is mostly nuts and some chocolate things. This is like a turbinado sugar though, that you might want to put on top of something. All sorts of chocolate chips and cocos. So we have dark chocolate, we have semi-sweet, we have white, and then these are just empty. So we've worked through those. Some more special dark cocoa, and then some odd, like a mint chocolate chip here. Different things like that. That's more dry bananas. These are chocolate covered coffee beans. That's a great treat. And then some dark chocolate cocoa mix. And then all kinds of dried nuts. So pistachios and peanuts and pecans and almonds, anything that you might want would go. And then we have some water glassed eggs and any odds and ends that I just want to hide. I might pop in one of these containers. The final section. Okay, my daughter brought home some, when she went to Costco, she got apple cider vinegar because mine is in 5-gallon buckets, so we made space for those. This is not this honey, it's a honey that came ATNS Christmas berry. I get these from Azure, and then I started buying some bulk honey from Hawaii. I just washed the container, let it completely dry, and put it over there. I have another coconut oil that's not open, some molasses, some red wine vinegar. Working our way through the vinegars. Ooh, organic white wine vinegar is obviously a favorite. It's almost gone. And then some balsamic. Then these are homemade vanillas, some alcohols, some tinctures. I use the vodkas for vanilla, and then some homemade, like this is a raspberry cello. My jelly shelf. Okay, cherry. We made all of this in the Every Bit Counts challenge last year. We have ate through a ton of it, believe it or not. My tiny little weird jellies. A little bit of apricot. This comes from Azure and it's really, really good. As well as a sour cherry, red plum, a grape, some mint, then just moving straight down, honey, and like, what is this, corn syrup, that sort of thing, ice cream toppings, some odds and ends, like pumpkin seeds, more dates, because, you know, we just don't have enough of them in spaces. And then this is my Christmas gift from Destiny, and I only have 4 left. I had 12 Alaska Wild blueberry jams that her dad made, and then her grandma makes these mixed berry ones, and they have all sorts of different things in them. And then back there is some fruit butters. But Destiny, I only have 4 blueberries left, and I didn't share. I didn't give it to anyone. I wasn't super kind because I absolutely love that. My favorite thing. And that's it. So that's my upstairs pantry. Let's head down to the basement and itemize what we have going on down there and do the very first storage project of the challenge. Welcome to our basement. This is where we keep all of our huge overflow, stocked pantry, all of those fun things. I'm going to share with you what we have going. All right, so here is everything that we keep down here. I am not going to invest in more totes and storage space until we actually build out the pantry, which was the goal. We just haven't gotten to it yet. We've been incredibly busy with other things around here. But eventually, this will have its whole own storage space, storage room. It'll be fantastic. Stick around the channel. When we get to it, I'll share the whole build out and the whole process. So we just kind of have some things stacked. I'm not looking to increase this storage right now, but anything that I may be out of, I would like to fill in and replace and things like that. So let me just walk you through it. Up top here, we keep the overflow spices and such that go into the jars I just showed you. So baking spices, daily spices, panko cornstarches, cocos. That is something that I think I'm gonna donate that because we're never going to eat it and it's taking up space. And I harp and talk about don't give space in your pantry to things that you're not going to eat. And I don't give way in my brain to the ideology of if you ever had an emergency, you would eat it. I give space to, I don't look forward to an apocalyptic type of thing. I prepare for, literally, my husband was laid off for the first time in his entire life, and we had to go 6 months without a paycheck, and these pantries literally saved our home, our family, our health, our sanity, our life. And then eating our way through them and trying to rebuild our life after that. We haven't been able to spend $2,000 on an Azure haul or a Costco haul or something like that to even put the pantry back to where it was. However, had I not had this, Aaron and I would have been sunk, and we probably would have had to sell our home and lose everything. So I believe in real life emergencies, real life hardships, real life ups and downs, and that is what I try and share on the channel. I know there's this thought process that has gone around because I hear it all the time of save that because if there's an emergency, you might want to eat it. Well, we don't like it. We don't like it. We've tried it. I should just donate it, and I should give space in my pantry to something that we would enjoy. So when there is a real life emergency, a real life hardship, the food that we're eating is the food that we're used to eating and that we enjoy eating, and that takes a little bit of the stress and the pain and all of that off of you. So if you're used to eating a particular kind of bean or rice or something like that, bulk up on those things and just don't have space for things that you aren't going to enjoy. If I had to eat that, the Tender Mercies chicken and rice, that's what it's called. If I had to eat that, I would not only feel desperate because things were hard and they were horrible, I would then be sad, and I would be like, it just compiles the mental load of things are tough, things are hard. Whereas I enjoy split pea soup. I could give more space to peas and beans and rice that I really, really do love and eat. And then when the hardship is here, it's like, this is a comfort meal. This is something that feeds my soul and my heart, and I just really, really enjoy this thing. So things need to be donated, and now is a good time to go through our pantries and say, you know what, I bought this soup thinking I'd like it. I don't like it. I'm gonna donate it, and I'm gonna replace it with a soup that my family really, really does enjoy, or whatever it is. You pick the thing, go into your pantry. I challenge you to find one item that you're never, ever, ever gonna eat. And if you have to eat it, it's gonna make you sad and depressed, even more so than you're already feeling. Get it out of your house, out of your space, out of your life, and replace it with something that would bring you happiness and joy and feed your heart and soul if you had to eat that. So that's my whole tidbit. Next is tea. And then I store Mylar bags, which we're gonna fill today, and oxygen absorbers. Right here are red beans, so that would be any kind of bean that is red, any kind of bean that is white, and any kind of bean that is odd. So Adazuku beans, pink beans, anything along those lines. And then all of my overflow quinoa pastas. Lentils of all colors, garbanzo beans, lima beans, navy beans, black beans, pinto beans, green split peas, yellow split peas, krill, so these are all rices down here, basmati, jasmine, and long grain white rice. All of these are huge grains. When you package something that has a 30-year shelf life, a rice, a bean in Mylar bag, that doesn't mean that we have 30 years worth of food in our home. I don't have 30 years worth of rice or beans. What I've done is I've packaged the rice and the beans and the grains in such a way that they would last on the shelf for 30 years, but I rotate through them. Because here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want to have an emergency. I don't want to have an everyday, because we rotate through these things, I don't want to be opening super old product. I want to open fairly new product and then be able to have fresh food. I don't want to wait for 30 years and then go, oh crud, we need to eat all this rice and beans because it's been on the shelf and taken up storage and space and mental space for 29 years and we need to go through all of it this year. No, I want it stored in such a way that it has the longest shelf life possible. And that is where we get the Mylar. But I don't want to have 30 years worth of food in my home at one time. I just want to have about a year's worth of food. That's my goal. That's my personal thing. I want to, if we had to eat off of this pantry for an entire year without spending a dime outside of the home, could we do it? Yes, we could. Let's keep all that we can. Do we have enough meats and other things stored up? Nope, we're not there. Do we have enough grains and enough beans and pasta? Probably. We probably are like beans and rice and grains to where we could survive an entire year and not have to buy any of that. But we don't have enough canned fruits and vegetables and freeze-dried things and so on. So we have lots of gaps that we need to fill in on the pantry. So when I say a 30-year, I don't have 30 years worth of food. What I want you to do, if you are taking after me, is when you store something, I want you to store it in a way that it will last for the longest period of time possible. Okay, so back to it. Grains all stored in Mylar so that we have a 30-year shelf life. We go here, we go oats, all-purpose flour, bread flour, organic all-purpose flour. This is open. This one, no, I can see shadows on them that they aren't full. White AP flour, durum wheat, cornmeal, yellow cornmeal, organic whole corn, so that's like popcorn, more of the sucanat flour, regular just rolled oats, black quinoa, white quinoa, back at it, hard white wheat, hard white, hard red, and hard red, and it's doubled. So each 5-gallon bucket, there's 2 of them, and then we have some empty buckets that need, well, this one's not empty. That's some salt. Let me show you. So different salts from Costco, kosher salt, plain salts, those sort of things. Anything I need, I just have in there, and I can refill upstairs. Here we have a 5-gallon of all of the grains that there's a 2-gallon of upstairs. So the kamut, the barley, the spelt, just look back if you want to know what grains I keep up there. So my favorite Costco all-purpose flour, running low on that. Dry milk, and then we have some freeze-dried items. They're just mixed in packaging up there. These are our can rollers, and they extend this direction. So here's everything. Split pea soup. I can't see from here, so that should be chicken noodle, tomato, bean and bacon, and then cream of chicken, cream of celery, cream of whatever. White type of beans, so like garbanzos, any other store-bought white beans, red beans. That should be refried beans, pintos, black, green beans, peas, corn, and then we have some additionals. And then this is the honey I was talking about. It comes in these big 1-gallon bags like this. Let's just go ahead and finish the canned goods. I'll make it easier. Tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, Rotel, crushed tomatoes. So we're almost out of Rotel. We're almost out of crushed tomatoes. Let me see. We have 1 and 1. That is it. Some canned pumpkin, chicken broth, beef broth, 2 things of canned milk, coconut milk. This is from Azure. It is amazing. Coconut cream. I love this in coffee and such. And then some canned fruits, as well as I filled in here with some pineapple, some pears, some diced, big fat diced tomatoes, and then some tomato paste, as well as some jarred overflow things from A1 sauce to Worcestershire, some different hot sauces, some barbecue, some cookie butters, and some jellies. Oh, I love this stuff. This Primal Kitchen, the buffalo sauce, just different odds and ends, and then canned tuna and chicken, anything Asian, and then some more of those potatoes. So currently bringing down everything that my daughter brought back to the house or had got for her house, moving in here. There's just some stuff out of place, but what we have here are 2 5-gallon buckets of vinegar, as well as a bunch of white vinegar. So what should I have? I should have 3.5 boxes of white vinegar if I was fully stocked up on white vinegar, to kind of give you an idea of what should be there. And then we have some oils. So some olive oil and some avocado oil, empty honey jug so that I could open one of these honeys and it would fill this jug. Sugar, that is a clover honey, and some more flour. And then the same thing here, these are 2 back. So we have some sea salts. What is here? Let's have a look. Okay, so this is some more different kinds of sugars. And back there is brown sugar, organic sugar, another brown sugar here because I just opened and used it and had to fill up the upstairs. And then powdered sugar, as well as the CH white sugar. And that is empty. And then that is a 5-gallon of orange blossom honey. I've been slowly moving jars down here that we are going to refill. And so I have tons of jars, anything that I might need for canning, and then anything for processing, like stuffing the meats and the grinders and all those things. And then this is just family storage. I know I've already mentioned it, but we recently did a huge freezer clean out, processed every single thing in our freezers that we possibly could, brought it down to a manageable thing. In order to go through a challenge like this, we need freezer space. And this is the massive project of today. There is 160 packages of wild caught red Alaska salmon that we just recently got that I need to seal up, and that is going to be the job for today. This whole part of the freezer was empty, and now it is full of. This freezer here is our fish freezer, and so all the salmon's gonna work its way over here. Everything in here now we have worked through is fresh. It is recent. There is no salmon or halibut or cod or anything that needs to go anywhere. It is all for this coming up year and season. So as I process each of the salmon, they're gonna get thrown into this deep freeze. Just as a review, this deep freeze is full of fruits and vegetables. That's all that's in here. And we have so much space, well, not for cauliflower, but so much space to replace and refill from the garden. This deep freeze has a little onion or garlic scape pesto and some of the pies that we made, but for the most part it's empty. This needs to be full of chicken. Over here we have the moose and beef freezer. This is actually my son Caleb's. All the meat that we have left, which you can see from the recent freezer meal or the freezer clean out to now, we are working our way through it very, very quickly. And this is why we need a whole chicken, a whole moose, and a whole beef freezer in order to feed everyone for the year. And so now over 160 packs of salmon need to get sealed up. The reason I put them in the bags and pre-freeze them is for whatever reason, they don't seal very well. They don't get the air out very well when I just put them in there raw. So I stick them in the bags, lay them as flat as I can in the freezer, pre-freeze them, and then come along and I'm able to seal them up really, really well. I don't know if it was wrong bag size or whatever the case was, but someone had told me, hey, pre-freeze it and then run it through your, I have an Avid Armor chamber vac. That's what we're sealing all the fish with. And for whatever reason it works. The fish just seals right up. There's no problems. This is gonna take me over an hour to process all of this fish, and I'll count exactly how many we have. But each one is gonna take about 45 seconds. Then I have to write the date on it, blah, 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 and so on. All that I did is we get the fish, we fillet them at the river. So me and Aaron and Cody, Destiny, Caleb, we caught all of these on the Kenai River recently. See, that didn't even try. So We fillet them there, and then I bring them home. I clean it up, make sure all the ribs, everything's off of it, and we now are packaging them into basically like a one-person serving, which is about 1/4 of the fish or half of a fillet. You just package things however your family's gonna eat it. We talked about that in the freezer clean out. The problem is we were packaging everything for 6 people, and then I wasn't wanting to defrost that amount of food, and now we're just packaging it for 1, 2, 4. It just kind of depends. I can get as many of these out of the freezer as I want. Therefore, the family could all have their own piece, and then we know that we're not wasting any food, and then we're more likely to use it faster. Let me get this. So I'm just gonna write the month 7. Oh, 8, sorry. 2025. I'm having to put some of it in the big deep freeze because we ran out of space in the fish one. So 133, 160, 62, 64, 68, 168 packages of salmon. And that is it for down in the basement today. My machine is just super, super hot, but I did pre-package and I'm ready to seal up either this evening. I'll probably give it like an hour. And then I'm gonna seal up 75 pounds of beans. So I have black-eyed peas I'm gonna seal up, some pink beans, and some Atazuku beans. And then I will have nothing left in Azure bags or unprocessed at all in the basement. So I literally have everything ready to go. So what a fantastic day. Let me show you our Azure order now. All right, friends, as far as Azure goes, if you're interested, please use my link and the code. What happens with Azure is everyone that orders from them is given a share Azure code. And when you share that code and other people use it and they spend over $100 in the first, I think it's month or 60 days, something like that, you get a $25 credit. So everything in front of you today, I actually got for free because of folks like you. They've used my Share Azure code as well as the influencer program where they give you a very small amount to spend to try things with Azure each month. In between the savings of those, this has helped our family just absolutely immensely. So let me take you through our very small haul. I got 3 Parmesan cheeses. They are 47 cents a pound. I got this one. This is a raw medium white cheddar, 5.42 pounds, so random weights, and then a mozzarella. So this is about 5 pounds of mozzarella. So that was the dairy. I already showed you the potatoes, and then I got a bag of lemons, so those are in season. And then over here, they sell a box that is just fruits and veggies. It's a variety. They put whatever they want in it or whatever they have surplus, but you get a mixture of fruits and vegetables. I had quite a bit that was bad. One of the best things about Azure is if you do get bad fruits, vegetables, anything, take a photo of it, email them, they'll actually credit you back. So I'm gonna weigh what is bad and then let Azure know what percentage of that box was bad, and then they'll credit me that percentage. But some of the things that they actually sent in it is a very diverse amount of food. So a bunch of garlic cloves, some plums. So those are beautiful. Erin loves plums and they're in season. I got some oranges, a pineapple, a couple of bell peppers, some jalapenos, a mango, some sweet potatoes. So I have several of those. I think these are like a turnip or rutabaga, something like that. So those will be just good crunchy. I didn't grow any of those this year, so that's perfect. A handful of carrots, 4 avocados, and 4 beets. So I got some different beets. Even though I have many of these things in my garden, I think it's going to save us a ton right now because I can fill in some fruits and vegetables at random and then just really increase our food. So that's it. That's my whole Azure haul for this month. I'm gonna put it back away. I appreciate you guys being with me today, and I hope that you will stick around for the next month and then beyond as we do challenge ourselves to preserve something every single day. Let's fill out those pantries. Let's get some things going in the freezers, freeze dried. It doesn't matter how you preserve it. Just fill up the pantries, and then we have something for the future to look forward to. So with that, I hope that you are blessed. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead of you, and I hope that you will come back and see me in the next video. You can do that by hitting the subscribe button. If you ring the bell, you'll get notifications, and then you won't miss anything that we do on this channel. Until next time, bye for now.